Hello everyone and welcome back to Skyrim. So today I'm going to show you the final iteration to my level, or my custom dungeon. So I guess let's get started. And today I'm going to explain to you everything. My building process and all that fun stuff. So as you can see, I added the entrance to the dungeon right out here. And when I get closer, I discover it. And I wanted to add that just so it felt more legit. Um, it took some extra time out to do that. I have an entrance and an exit on the other side of the mountain. I don't know if you can see the mountain here, right there. Yeah, so you can easily discover it and kind of be like, oh, this is neat. Let's check this out. So let's do that. So for my dungeon, I was trying to go for an Indiana Jones type theme, kind of where at the end of the dungeon there's a treasure chest or some sort of treasure, and you're trying to get to that, and you have to fight through enemies and traps to do so. But I divided the dungeon into 3 sections because I didn't want it all to look bland and boring. Kind of wanted it all to be unique. So this first section is the bandit area, and this is where it kind of gives narrative as to like, oh hey, these bandits are trying to explore the dungeon as well. So, um, so you gotta defeat them because they don't like you. All right, so let's do that. Alright, well, see, that was easy. And the first area is supposed to be easy. The enemies, I want them to kind of flow and get harder as you go through it. So these guys were easy bandits. I'm also like kind of OP because I unlocked all the spells, so it's not a good indication on how hard it is. I'm sure it's more difficult for people who don't have the spells I'm using. But so yeah, so let's explain this area a little bit. So this is the bandit camp. This is the start of the first section of the dungeon. And for this area, I kind of wanted to make it look like nature has started taking over the dungeon that was built. So you got like some vines here all around the walls. Yeah, so it kind of gives the idea of like it's starting to return back to nature. Um, and then the camp area in general, I already kind of explained that, but you got some tents, you got some chests here. Let me pull that up. Some random loot. The loot in here is based off of your level. So the higher level you are, the higher loot you get, which is nice. But it's also confusing if I was to show it in the video, because it's like a dwarven or a Daedric armor or something like that. It's kind of confusing, but that's the reason why. You got some of this stuff you can use. You just sit down quick, or okay, stand up. X out of that. So I can cook here, just for fun, kind of. And I can loot. Alright, so let's keep going through here. Oh yeah, and for the lighting, for this area, it's mostly just the fire pits, keeping the lighting and everything. We also have some throughout this area. These torches kind of give lighting to the area. It's also just kind of provide narrative as to the bandits were lighting this area up as they were going. Yeah. So this section, there's traps throughout the dungeon, and this is the first area with traps. It's kind of the reason there's dead bodies here is kind of to show, oh, these bandits were trying to go through all these traps, and some of them died because they didn't know they were there. So yeah, let's see. Oh, that's what that trap does. So I can just jump straight over them. It allows the player to kind of get the idea that they're there and avoid them. I mean, they can run through them if they want, but there's also some loot, some gold, basic stuff. Alright. So these 2 enemies here, they're kind of like the last enemies in this one section of the map. And this is the bandit chief and a mage. And what they're kind of doing here, just kind of studying the dungeon. There's a map over here, not of the dungeon, just of Skyrim in general, but that guy was studying the creature itself that's in the dungeon to kind of, get a better understanding of what they're facing. It's also kind of an area for all the other bandits where they can kind of sit and eat. It just shows that they've been here for a while, basically. And they barricaded because they couldn't complete the rest of the dungeon. And there's enemies and everything. There's nothing in that. Got a dummy right here. So yeah. Yeah. One thing I wish these vines were not green. I'm sure maybe you can change the color, but that's fine. They don't look that off-putting. I still like them in here, but that's one thing I would fix if I had time to go back and do all that. Yeah. Alright, so hop over this barricade, and now we're in our second area. The second area is kind of here to show that not many people have been through it in a very long time. Obviously this hallway they have, because there's some dead bandits here, some dead spiders, kind of just show that they tried to clear it, but they weren't very successful. And you got, it's like a spider web domain. Yep. Yeah, so that's this whole area. It's again, simple little enemies, but they are getting harder. Like that chief in there was set on a medium difficulty, and they're just going to keep increasing over time. Kind of the last enemies in the area. So let's open this wall up. So since nobody has been here for such a long time, obviously this is closed. That's kind of what I was trying to go for. Again, it's kind of returning to nature a bit. You get the glowing mushrooms as your source of light for these areas. Kind of give it a different feel. Right. But you don't forget the traps. So this is here, you can see it, but you can easily not see it. And you can get hit by it. Not. There we go. Those are kind of there just to keep that Indiana Jones feeling. You got this little section's kind of hidden if you don't see it too easily. You got some loot in there. It's kind of been in there for a while. Just random stuff. Nothing too important. Get some more loot. Then you got another little section. There's some more spiders waiting to attack you. Alright. And the hallways are supposed to be narrow. That was another part of my design, because I want it to kind of feel like you're facing one trial after another to get through this whole dungeon. But I wanted the rooms themselves to have enough room to fight everything. I wanted to keep the flow kind of easily paced, because if everything's just tight knit, like fighting one after another, it kind of gets repetitive and annoying. So I wanted to kind of vary that feeling. It's another reason the narrative separates into 3 parts. Now this, obviously you can tell this is a dungeon, boss area. Well, I'll walk straight in. And there's that music that plays to kind of indicate, oh, you gotta face these bosses. So these are like the mini bosses. They're not the main bosses, but it's kind of to help you know that, okay, we're halfway through the dungeon, or we're close to the end of the dungeon. And you got these pillars to kind of help you, you know, shoot around them. You know, because I'm sure, well, I know these aren't that easy to fight when you're not OP. So it can be difficult. So that's why I put these pillars in there, give you a lot of space to kind of kill each one off. Oh wow, okay. And as you're fighting, you can use some of these things. They don't really give you much, but spider eggs. Yeah, I don't know, it's just random stuff kind of to help you out. Keep the atmosphere, the mood. Yeah. Alright. Now this last section of the dungeon is a totally different feel from this one. Oh, he followed me straight up. Okay. Well, let me just kill that guy real quick. He wasn't supposed to follow me up here, but I guess he didn't care. So this whole area is like the catacombs. We're going deeper into the dungeon. This is where they buried all the bodies, or, you know, catacombs. and it's got different lighting to kind of show that something's either they've been lit for a long time or someone's been maintaining them. Maybe these skeletons. I'm kind of going for more they've been lit for a long time. Maybe some magic or so, you know, Skyrim logic. So that's why they're still lit and nothing else is kind of lit. But yeah, plus it just goes well with the catacomb feel. So there's nothing down here. There were just enemies here. But I don't know what he's doing. Another time, some of the enemies are a little weird. I don't know if that's my fault or I think it's just something, you know. Skyrim has some bugs, but yeah, as he was nicely showing, there's a coffin here. You got some more loot areas over here. Nothing in that, but something in here. Yeah, kind of go with that feeling. Ooh, what do you have? Ancient Nord sword. I want to use a sword. Let's use a sword. There we go. Alright, am I crouching? Oh. No, I'm not crouching, I just feel short for some reason. Alright, let's keep going. So, as you can see, keeps going. Little enemy area coming straight to me. Oh, this does much less damage than the magic. Oh. Okay, well, didn't want to step into that yet, but that's fine. So there's like a little ambush animation for these guys. Okay. Get wrecked. Nah. So again, another little pillar you can just kind of go around. I'm going to change my weapon because it is not doing as much damage as I hoped it would. So I'm just going to use my, if I can pull up the right menu, I'm just going to use my magic again because it did the most damage. Alright. Alright. Gets launched across the map. Ancient Nord sword. I didn't want to take that, but anyways, let's keep going. I don't want to stop here. So we got some nice pots and everything. Just kind of keep with it more. There's nothing in there. Some more. Yeah. Alright. Let's keep going. So here's another area with traps. You'll notice, well, you'll eventually notice that there's no more enemies after this point. And that's to kind of increase the tension feeling of the dungeon itself. Give the players a sense that something big is coming, or they're about to face the boss sometime soon. And this was just a dart trap. Pretty easy to notice, and you can kind of avoid it as well, but it's there to keep that Indiana Jones feeling. Alright, got some more loot over here. Ta-da! And then we're almost at the boss. And there's that creepy background noise. That's one thing I added since last time. It's kind of like windy catacombs feel. I think right now it's the catacombs sound, but earlier in the dungeon there was the wind sound. That's just kind of to feel like it's an old dungeon. There's air traveling through it. Very similar to the Bleak Falls Barrow. This right here is just an area to kind of give you the sense that, hey, there's a final boss in that area right there. You can't actually go through here, but it's kind of like, hey, stock up on some goodies. Well, none of these are weapons, but that's fine. Anything helps, you know. And I'm pretty sure there's not much in these. Bone meal, you know, just random loot. Good stuff. But it's mostly not for the loot. It's mostly for the fact that, hey, there's a final boss here. Give the player that, you know, environmental narrative that they need, that they didn't know they need. Alright, and that trap was obviously triggered by me walking. This is the final trap to the boss. I could just walk straight through it, but I don't want to do that. It's boring. My health is pretty insane right now, so that's why it's like kind of hard to tell. But there you go. And then after that, you can just turn it right off. There you go. And then you're all set. You can walk straight back through it if you want. So now we face the final boss. You can see there's good lighting here. I'm not going to walk in just yet. No, I can't see it there, but there's lighting kind of like around the main boss area to kind of centralize the room. Now we fight the final boss. And this is a dragon priest, kind of a, you know, he's much more difficult than the other guys. And obviously, I'm just kind of going straight at it, but there's pillars here as well to help you kind of stay safe, especially if you're a lower level. Let's end this guy here. Die. Come on, you got it. Boom. There we go. I love the way he dies. It's so interesting. And there's 250 gold. It's a good amount. And around this room, obviously, there was some, you know, more loot. Some coffin, urns, and everything. Kind of help you out. And then you can see the door from the other side. All right, that's most of the dungeon. All right. If we go to the treasure room, the room we've been trying to find the whole time, we've been waiting for. Got some treasure area, some urns, gold. Let's see what's in the treasure box. Ooh, Orcish gauntlets. I'll get those. Some minor healing. I feel like that shouldn't be in there, but it's random. And we got some coin purse. So yeah, that's that. And then right here, you got a door. As you can see, there's an exit to Skyrim on the other side, and I wanted to make it so you couldn't just come right in and go backwards the whole dungeon. So what I did was just put a one-way door, so you have to go through the dungeon in order to go backwards to it again. And that makes the most sense to me. And then you can just go straight back through it. And now we're back in Skyrim. As you can see, there's the same entrance, and this side is the other side. I learned from that last time I got attacked. So that's basically my level. I implemented sound since last time, added some more narrative. I was going for that Indiana Jones feel, and I think I accomplished it pretty well. And yeah, the level flows nicely. The enemies work for the most part. Sometimes they do that little weird walking around when you're attacking them. Again, I'm not sure if that's my fault or. Ooh. Interrupted me. Spit comes out of nowhere. Yeah, no, I think it all flows nicely. The narrative is the way I want it to be. If there's anything that I could fix, it would be the sound. The sound isn't exactly what I wanted it to be for the combat. When you enter that spider room, it's okay, but it's like I wish there was some combat music. I couldn't figure out how to do that, but that's the only thing I would change. Other than that, I really liked the dungeon. The process was fun, challenging. So yeah, that's my dungeon, my final dungeon. If you have any comments, please let me know down below. Thanks, and I hope you enjoyed the video.